World of YouTube out here with some real screwed up fucking stories and tales. And we are now in Leominster, Mass. And I'm bringing you this to this area due to the fact that all in this area, which is a big complete circle with roads, was once a lake. Due to the curiosity of a friend of mine that wanted to know about this, he got his answer and I got mine. Now the reason why I'm doing this video today is because of the simple fact that Wikipedia went and updated their website, and about a couple years ago I was looking in for Indians throughout this town and they had nothing. And now all of a sudden we have a goddamn Sholan chief that lived throughout the area, which now I believe he lived up in the Sholan farm area. And there was another chief that lived around here. Got to do in this area where we are now. Now if you go this way out towards the set of lights, which I'm going to bring you on a little tour of why I believe this area, and a documented thing that I read said from the 1800s from Amherst College, and someone wrote that they didn't think that Indians lived throughout this area due to lack of arrowheads and all kinds of Indian tools that would be normally found. But how are you gonna know when everything now is built over it? And I think that's what happened. Exactly what happened is that a lot of this Indian area wasn't even surveyed to find out if there was any Indian life here, because they buried it. So how are you going to find it? And where this lake is right now, we're on Lakeview Ave. And in this area, like I said, now I got due to some research and now an article that came out in a newspaper the other day of a resident lived there all his life talking about Bigfoot. And now I'm starting to believe there's the tales between Bigfoot and the Indians. I got my beliefs that I don't even know if I want to say it, but letting out secrets, that I think the Indians came up with the Bigfoot theory to stay away from forbidden lands. If you read a lot of things, there are things that say like the Bridgewater Triangle, the swamps, the area were forbidden. And they claimed the Indians were scared to go in them swamps, but they were not scared. Due to the King Philip War and what I read about in the Great Powwow, the Bridgewater Swamp, one of them, was an area of swamp that the English first saw and first got taste of the Indians running in there and disappearing. And that was a big point into the battle where they were scared shitless of the Indians for doing that. They just disappeared, the book says, like one colonel wrote. And it scared the shit out of them. Now my main thing is why I say the Bigfoot thing is Monsterland. And here we go again. I looked up another damn article about a year ago. I got on this guy that did the article in the newspaper of the Sentinel and Enterprise, claims that there was a Bigfoot sighting here in 1950s. We just passed Miranda's bar. I forgot to show that. But that was right in front of the parking lot where we were, so just keep that in mind. But the guy from the 50s claimed that he saw Bigfoot, went to Miranda's bar, and the way I read it, it made me think it was like the town drunk. And everybody laughed at him, but he called the cops anyways. And before the cops could get there, he said he was going back to this place where I'm going to bring you now. And it's all around in the vicinity of the Monsterland. But he said he's going to go back there, he's going to get proof, and he's bringing it back to the bar. Now everybody knows that Bigfoot claims have been seen throughout areas. And just before I say this, just make sure you keep an eye on how we ride this route, because I have come to my thoughts and theories also about a triangle that now forms like the Bridgewater Triangle, mind you, which the Bigfoot sightings in the Bridgewater triangle and Indian spirit sightings. Well, guess what? All around in this area, also Bigfoot sightings. And 2 people have claimed that they have seen Bigfoot sightings from Monsterland. And that's why I'm doing this video today. But, you know, all them sightings of Bigfoots has been dated back since, at least, the Indian days. You could say the 1400s, 1500s, and so forth. But, of course, the article now, like I say, like they change and disappear, which pisses me off. I might have saved it on my emails. I might have sent it to myself, the article, so I hope I did. I got to look back. Of course, I didn't mark it, and I should have, but I got a bunch of emails now I got to go through to find that fucking article. But in 1935, there was also in this area where I'm bringing you. So, in other words, why I think this goddamn Bigfoot thing. Now, for one, it could have been the point of a Bigfoot running through the camps of the Indians, and maybe my thoughts and theories on that if they were to cook food or whatever, the Indians, maybe the reason why Bigfoots hung around their area was the smell of food and gonna go try and take it from them, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But the other thoughts and theories is I'm starting to think that the Indians made this up. And if there's been any other articles or things about the Bigfoot in the future nowadays, who knows? You could say Indians are still running around. And, you know, just to make it so believable and people could still have claims and thoughts and sights and think about it. But also, I think it was made up. If it was made up, it had to do with forbidden land. To keep people of the white man nature out of their special sacred spots would be like for chiefs and warriors of death that were buried and didn't want them to be disturbed, so forth. And that's why I'm coming up with these thoughts and theories and how I figured out all this about the triangle in this area is that if you keep going straight through this set of lights and head out into Lancaster, and there's a road up here not even 1.5 miles away that you turn on to, and it leads you right to the Bloodtown Forest. And that Bloodtown Forest is where George Hill is on the other side of it. And I have a video up on that if you want to check it out. And that has to do with the claims of that I think big part of the King Philip War happened there. Now, as if you go down here straight, which I'm just going to bring you to the sighting places, but down there is a dead-end road, and all in here, and where Walmart is over here, and throughout all these woods, would be the pathway to Monsterland. I've been there when I was a kid, and there's a opening over on the other side of these set of woods in this area. Going to my right leads to the railroad tracks that go down the street that lead to the power lines here. And you would ride across the power lines just to get into all this madness. And somewhere up along in this vicinity is where you would find Monsterland, so forth out here. And of course, these buildings over here, new these were built, I believe, in the mid-90s. But they weren't always here. Or they could have been late 80s, but still. And as you get the railroad tracks to the old Clinton Tunnel, run along up here that are permanently closed down, of course. But this is the area, and I'm going to stop over here. And they claim, in the 1935 sighting of Bigfoot, this area, and they disclaim this bridge is where this man saw him. And it's out. Now, like I said, these houses over here were never there, of course, in the 30s. But throughout this area, running across the stream of the brook here that has recently dried up to drought. And I think it is blocked off anyways. But all in this area, this is where Bigfoot and the other guy claims he saw Bigfoot in this area. Now the guy from the 1950s said he was coming back here to get proof because everybody laughed at him. And they claim, and then the guy in the report says that in the police report or whatever, but the guy said he looked it up also, so the theory of the story is not documented, but and claims that when they came here and the car was running, to check on him, the car was running, light was on, and he was nowhere to be found. So I'm sure in their conclusion of the story that claims that the Bigfoot probably just picked him up and ran off with him. So they say, claims that Bigfoot is a vegetarian, which I don't know what it is or what it is to be. As you can see, yeah, they made a drainage down here, once a brook. So, but all in this area, like I said. So the point from where I started, the lake, and you come down here on Route 17, you go straight, like I say, and you stay straight on Route 17. Now if you come up along this way, out by Lancaster Forest, and you begin to run out in the back roads and outskirts of Lancaster, it will eventually bring you to Sholan Farms. But the triangle don't stop there. The start, where I would stop the triangle, is the Leominster State Forest, where people claimed in 2010 they had casted a foot of Bigfoot. And there was a story, and you can look it up online if you want to check it out, but there's a story claiming that a wife and her husband just went out for a stroll out in the Leominster State Forest, and on that day that something swooped up a deer, or something swooped up something, and they saw this 8.5-foot stride of leg running, which would be the length of the footsteps of the Bigfoot they claim they had. But what else leads me to this story is that 9-foot Indians used to live in Corning, Waverly, New York area, Big Flats. And that's why it comes to terms, and I have an article that someone wrote from the Corning Painted Post Historical Society out in Corning, New York, and they claims that these Indians lived, and they stood to 9 to 10 feet tall. And that's why it's coming to my conclusion that these Indians that stand this tall, why not make up something? Because like I said, the Navajos, and I'll continue to say it throughout my videos, but the Navajo Indians out west made up a thing of themselves. I still got to put up the pictures on my site. I got to get it back on my other phone, download it, but I'm going to show you how they dressed up to scare away monsters and bad spirits. They would dress up in this thing. So I'm thinking that maybe these 9-foot, 10-foot Indians dressed up in fur and scared other Indians or white man from coming into there. And these Indians that stood 9 foot, mind you, there was a path in Corning, New York, that they did not want the white man going down. And if they saw, and they were like guards watching this fucking beginning of this path. So if they saw a white man coming, they would walk right out in front of them, fold their arms in front of their chest, and stand there and stare at them until they eventually walked away. They didn't even have to say one word. That's how powerful these Indians were, scary these Indians were. So I think they went forth to maybe push the limits of maybe putting together a little suit and scaring white man with the Bigfoot. But like I was saying earlier, when you come up in here and on your way to State Forest near the Mount Wachusett area, I would put a pinpoint of a triangle, come down here, over here, and all the way up 117 across the Bloodwood Forest. And there were claims of Indian living there on George Hill. So that's why I say that this area has its own triangle, and it's starting to lead me believe that maybe Indians triangled out a lot of their Yeah, I'm doing a video. Thanks. Yeah. Interruption. People looking at me. But that's what I'm trying to get my point across. That these people that are the Indians made this triangle for the purpose of, right, wanting to scare the white man with the Bigfoot legend. Keep you out of here. I don't know. Something to think about. And I've been doing a lot of research and looking up on Google Maps, and you can Google out the goddamn time frame, because if you go straight up in these back roads this way, I swear to God, you end up right up towards Mount Wachusett Mountain. Indians, I notice hills around here. Sholan Farms is up on a hill. You see a nice view coming across over the Leominster Valley way. And also, when there wasn't trees back then, you'd get a nice view of Mount Wachusett. And that's what the Indians... So put all this together, and you got the Indians watching Mount Wachusett, which they used to do their smoke signals with the fire. If anybody knows about history, the smoke signals were a big thing back then, and they did it on the mountain for other tribes to see. Warnings, or telling them to watch out for this or that. But like I said, this triangle thing, I think, is not just in Bridgewater. In the sightings here, Ghost also, which is George Hill with the hatchet and the madman. If you go on the, Shadowlands. Well, that madman hatchet spirit running down that hill is not a madman. It's a flat-out, blunt, straight Indian protecting its land from any other person. So if you see that ghost, which you cannot get up there anyways, because there's literally a house built there. But other than that, I gotta get out of here. Just wanted to do this up quick, because obviously I got a bunch of ding-dongs driving around asking me if I'm alright. I'm sure I'm gonna get another ding-dong stopping to see what I'm doing, but I had to get this out. This is one fucking spot that's like, wow. And what I'm coming out with on my own behalf and searching, I'm starting to get my... And then you got the Wikipedia thing refreshing their shit and telling of Indians in this town. And like I said, back in the 1800s, they didn't even think Indians lived here. So I'm on the right path to something. I'm gonna fucking find something big, whether it be Bigfoot or even just a Indian spirit somewhere. But this is why I'm doing these videos. And this is the Monster Land video. And I am now out of here and get this done. Give you a little survey of the land. Like I said, all this was woods at one point in time. So, like I said, over in that area is Monster Land itself. So I don't know, I'm going to try and get a hold of this guy and see what he thinks of my story compared to his story, and see what he has got on that. I don't know if he didn't mention nothing about Indians, so obviously he don't know about it, but he will soon. See if I can come out with some digging up stuff around here. Other than that, YouTube Nation, gotta get out of here because everybody's fucking tooting up a horn ass. Hey, horn blows. Does the driver? No. Other than that, YouTube Nation, take care, be safe. Till the next video, like I said, millions to come now. I'm gonna unveil something awesome. I can feel it in my bones. Till that next video. Keep in touch, YouTube Nation. Out.